Okay, let's see the key stages in value stream mapping. What are those key stages? Very simple stages. Select one product family, map the current state, develop a future state, and develop an improvement plan. Right? If these stages are simple, type simple in the comment box. Select one product family, map the current state, map the future state, and develop the improvement plan. Okay, all simple? Excellent. Okay, let's go through in detail on the simplest version of it. So select one product family. That's the first thing. So when you select the product family, it is very important that we see value in the eyes of the customer. We've always said value must always be seen in the eyes of the customer. And then you have to identify the resources that will enable the value to flow. You have to identify that resources that will enable the value to flow. What are those resources? Please leave your thoughts in the comment box. Some people talk about 6M, some people talk about 8M. Okay, talk about only raw materials. So material is only one part of the resource. The man is another part of the resource. The machine that is required to do that is another part of the resource. The measurement, okay, because you need to measure in any process, even if you're making food for NGOs, right? You need to measure and make the right type of food, or you need to measure the right type of people, right? Measurement is another type of a variation. And we also talk about Mother Nature and method. So when you talk about method, consists of two micro elements. What are those in the method? Right, time and motion. Fantastic. Okay, time and motion. Okay, a method has got a time and a motion. That's the two micro elements that are there, right? And when we talk about motion, it's nothing but activities, right? And activity is associated with the time. Activity. Motion can be, cutting is a motion, bending is a motion, turning is a motion, making something is a motion, right? Time and motion, right? So, fantastic. Okay, so identify the resources that will enable value to flow, which means that we need to have right people in place, which is man, then machines, then material, then proper method. Okay, then we need to have right measurements, then Mother Nature we call also, right? Because environment, the other external factors that are there. And some people also add money and management to this, okay? I don't want to get into the argument of that. If you want to put management under man also, that is fine. Okay. Now let's go into the little bit of depth into this. Your customer facilities are here, okay? You have the customer facilities here. Customer has got a lot of facilities and the customer gives you information. What information does he give? Please type in the comment box. What information does the customer give? Customer actually tells you what item he wants, what quantity he wants, what quality he wants, what location he wants, all that requirements he gives, okay? All that he gives. And it goes to 1, 2, and you have suppliers. From suppliers, you actually get this to yourself. It is your factory here. And then probably distribution systems in place, if in case it's not directly to the customer, and then you have customer facilities. Does this make sense on the entire flow? If it makes sense, type MS in the comment box. If it makes sense, okay? I wanted to make this value stream mapping slowly, steadily sink in your system. And we should not use value stream mapping just because we know what is value stream mapping, okay? I've already given a heads up in the earlier lean foundations that ultimately all the inefficiencies will land up as inventories. Invariably land up as inventories, right? And we will talk about inventory. We'll convert inventory into time. And the moment that we try to reduce inventory, then inefficiency is exposed. And you all remember the analogy we said that we are smoothly sailing in the water, underneath which there are rocks. You can easily go from one place, one bank of the river to the other bank of the river if the water level is high and the boat doesn't touch the rock anywhere underneath. But the moment the water level is reduced, the boat will rock against the rock, hit against the rock. And here we are comparing this water level into inventories, and in value stream mapping, when we are flowing, we try to reduce the inventory level and see what rock gets exposed. The rock that gets exposed becomes a project and not inventory reduction by itself. Please, 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 this is what I wanted to give you a heads up even before getting into value stream mapping details. Okay, so far clear? I'm trying to decodify the value stream mapping, because if I straight away jump into making the value stream map, it will look very heavy. So far, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much is your understanding? If you've understood it pretty well so far, give it a 10. If it is heavy or not able to sink in, you can give it 2 or 3. Or if it's okay, maybe 5, 6, 7, whatever. After every 10 slides, I'll ask you this question so that I wanted to understand, okay, the level of your sinking into the subject. Okay, so what I want to show here is the information moves upstream and the product and material flows downstream. Information flows upstream and product and material flows downstream. Now you can understand what is upstream and downstream. All right, let us get into the depth of different types of products that are there. Is value stream mapping the tool that is for all the type of projects, or should we really use this framework of value stream mapping in a format that is suitable for our type of product design and production process characterization? Product design versus process characterization. Let me repeat it. This format of value stream map, what type of format of value stream map should we use for the products that have got a unique set of product design versus unique type of process characteristics? Let us go into the depth of it slowly. Now, on this side, you have less customization, higher volume. And less complexity, less diversion, and more line inflows. For those who are all from non-manufacturing, do not worry. I'll give you sufficient example for you to comprehend what I talk about. Higher volume, we understand. Less customization, we understand. For example, for a wedding is actually less customization, higher volume, or more customization, less volume? What does wedding come under? Suppose if you are putting mehendi for wedding or some beautifying a bride or bridegroom, whatever. Yeah, more customization and low volume, right? Like the wedding, this thing. Suppose if you're talking about, giving a gift for after the wedding, is it higher volume, less customization, or higher volume, right? Gift. Okay, I'm just telling for non-manufacturing some example that just stuck into my mind. Second is less complexity, less divergence, and more line flows. Okay, when you put a mehendi for the wedding, it can be less complex also or more complex also. It depends upon the type of thing that you're going to put. Now let us get into the example what I've shown here. When we are talking about a product design, maybe this is one of the kind of products made to the customer order. Can you give me an example of this? One of a kind of product made to the customer order. Can you give me an example in this type of product design? Yeah, a rocket launch, right? or a base for rocket launch. For example, Kalyani Forge has made one particular component for a rocket launch, and that is one of the kind that they have made for the customer order. Okay. And from there, you could see a low volume, low standardization, multiple products, moderate volume, few major products, higher volume. Yeah, suitable shirt for a man also, right? One of its kind, a unique designer shirt, right? Car from Dilip Shabaria, very good, Mayank. Car from DC cars, right? They made customized, unique, one of its for this. Yeah, maybe a gold jewelry customized. Okay, gold jewelry, does it come under this left side or right side? Let's debate. Gold jewelry, does it come under this left side or right side? Let's see some answers here. Okay, now left and right answers are coming. Olden days left. Olden days are left only. Okay, interesting. Okay, so you have jewelry, which is one kind of products which is made probably for people who wanted a particular type, or it can also be a unique a ring that is manufactured in bulk also, right? It depends upon what you want. It can be in any of these categories. Do you agree with me? It can be in any of, and some people want to be on that particular segment, product design. If so far it is clear, type super clear in the comment box. I hope this is valuable, interesting. It is leading to some thinking process. Okay. I wanted to make sure that every minute of what we spend here is something of value adding. Okay. And this type of example I have not discussed any time in the past. And probably the slide itself I've introduced only in the last couple of batches. Okay. The second is process characteristic. What is process characteristic? What's process characteristic? Let's talk about it. In some process, when you make, it can be complex, highly customized process, unique sequence of tasks. Let us take, for example, a restaurant. Can you give an example of a complex and highly customized process of unique sequence of tasks versus continuous flow, highly repetitive work? Can you give me these two examples in a restaurant? Good. So all I wanted you to understand here was there are some repetitive continuous flow that is possible. At the same time, are you clear about this slide? I want each and every one of you to be clear about the product design, what I have shown here versus the process characteristic. Sometimes, even though if it is one of its kind, okay, it could slightly vary from complex to jumbled flows. Let us see some examples. One of you rightly mentioned here a project process. Okay, any new project that you said, when I asked about one of its kind of project made to the customer order, probably a project process. Right? Okay. And here, low volume, low standardization, which means that the volume is not very high and you cannot standardize it much. And the workflow is sort of jumbled workflow, complex work with many, we call that as a job process. Okay. If for people who are from non-manufacturing, if this sounds a little complex, don't worry about that. Just be here and make sure that you finally at the end of the day understand everything. Okay. Then in manufacturing, we call something also batch process. We manufacture in batches. Multiple products and moderate volume. Disconnected line flows, moderately complex work. That's called as a batch process. And then we call as a line process. We are now more and more familiar with this type of products where few major products are there, higher volume. Whenever volume goes higher, we start getting, and the flows are all connected and routine work. We call as line process. And then finally, we have what is called as a continuous flows, highly repetitive work, high volume, high standardization, commodity process. This is called as continuous process. We will see the example of each of these processes. But my question to all of you is, on a scale of 1 to 10, particularly on the slide, if your understanding is super clear, give it a 9 or a 10. Okay. Okay. So at least this slide, if it is clear, then I'll go to the next slide. Thank you very much for that, acknowledging that. Superb. All right. Now I'm giving some examples of some of the industries here. Some of you said airplanes. Who said airplane when I spoke about a unique project? Type me in the comment box. One of you typed airplane. There was bang on, correct answer. Aerospace industry on this. And then we get into industrial machinery and sort of unique apparel industry. Then we talk about, we call job shop versus flow shop. We call low volume differentiated versus high volume commodity type. Okay. Right. Oh, Mr. Subrata said, okay, fine. Okay. So this oil and steel, if you see steel, it is continuously coming. The continuously coming, flowing. Paper industries, breweries, if you see, it is continuously coming. And then somewhere in the tire and rubber is here. Yeah, cement is also more or less in this space, right? And then electrical, electronics somewhere come in the middle, and drugs come here, machine tools come here, machineries come here, and aerospace. So if this slide is clear, give it a number, okay? If it is super clear, 9 to 10. Or if it is more or less clear, it is 7 or 8. Okay, fine. Thank you very much. I keep asking this because, you know, I just want to make sure, because value stream mapping is such a heavy subject that I don't want you to miss out any of the understanding of any of these slides. Okay, great. I'll give some more examples for you to project type works, and we classify that into certain type of processes. Certain things we call as a project nature of things. We call about work center type of things. Then we call manufacturing cell. In manufacturing cell, it can be assembly lines or work center, that is job processes. And then continuous flows. All right. And again, you know, some more examples I've given here. Project type, we said bridges, highways, job shop, appliances, and continuous flow, oil, refinery, electricity, and stuff like that. The same thing, just with additional examples that I've given in this slide. Okay, now we come to what is called as product versus process. In the earlier slide, I spoke about the product designs versus process characterization. Now I'm only asking about product and process. Okay, so in restaurant, which are all the processes, if you have a restaurant business, which are all the products that have similar processes? Can you please mention in the comment box? In a restaurant, if you're running a restaurant, which are all the products that have similar processes? Okay, idli, dosa, uttapa, right. Okay, you have juices type. Okay, juices, maybe a similar process of peeling it, cutting it, putting in mixie. Different salads might be a similar type of processes. Okay. Sandwich, making of sandwich can be a similar type. Bakery, okay. Curry, different types of rice. Okay, fine. Okay, ice creams. Okay, so in restaurant, if you see, ice creams can fall under different categories. There are customized ice creams and if you see the pastry industry, it is on both the extreme. Highly customized type of pastry is also available versus a normal takeaway pastry is also available. So what we are trying to do in our organization is select those product families and products and write down the processes. For example, if I write product A, B, C, D here, suppose ABC is dosa type, dosa, idli, you can type it as onion dosa, rava dosa, and onion uttappa, something like that. And they will go through almost similar processes like this. And I call this as dosa family. I call this as dosa family. ABC is dosa family and D, E, F is chapati family. And chapati family can be, what are the chapati family? Paratas, what else? Kulcha, okay, whatever, roti, naan, okay, all chapati families, okay. I hope this product process matrix is clear. Okay, this is very important to understand. This is the first step in the current state mapping. This is the first step in the current state mapping. Again, you can type your understanding in terms of numbers, 9, 10, whatever, for the product process matrix. So this is a possible product family. And the important thing is you have to concentrate on one family at a time. Important thing is you'll have to concentrate on one family at a time. Why one family and how to choose that one family? That which matters to business. Choose that family that matters to business. How do I know that it matters to business? Find out your sales. Find out your customer orders. There are two ways of doing it. Either it is value-based or volume-based. Some people select high volumes, which are all the families that they are manufacturing a lot in terms of quantity. Okay. And most of them select based on the value. Okay, these are all the critical items. Mostly, it will match. Invariably, it will match. The product family will match. So take your past sales data and find out which are the products that you sold more. Group it into families and find out those products which really matters to business and start the value stream map of that product family. I hope this is clear, right? All right. Now let us sink in a little bit of in-depth into this. How do you map the current state? Now, if you see the factory or production, you start from the factory. You start from the factory. I'll tell you why. Then you go into the process. And we've seen in the overview of the process value stream mapping, you've already mapped all the processes, right? And then you have the information flows. Then you have the timelines at the bottom. Then you'll have production, several production locations. For example, one of our textile yarn manufacturing company, it has got a dyeing unit separately in one place. It has got a texturizing unit separately in another place. Dyeing unit in Bhiwandi, texturizing unit in Vada, and a twisting unit in MIDC near Kalyan, and then high bulking unit in Silvassa, and some other operations of this thing in Belugaon. So there can be multiple locations, but my request is start with one location. Start with one location. And then later on, enterprise value stream mapping, we will see the entire whole logistic chain. All right. So when you map the current state, for the preparation, you need to select one product family. which we are very clear now. Form a cross-functional team that knows the entire project. All of you type SME in the comment box, SME. People who know what is SME, type in the comment box also what is SME. Why did I ask to type SME? Yeah, that's right, Mr. Mayank. Subject matter expert. So form a cross-functional team, CFT, that knows the entire process. Because each of us have to contribute. Each of us have to contribute to the whole thing. Start in the finished good work house and work upstream to the raw material house. This is an interesting question. In Learning to See book also, it's written, start from the finished good warehouse and work upstream to the raw material house. The question is, why do we have to start with finished goods? Those who attended my earlier batches know the answer clearly, and you can leave in the comment box. Why do you have to start with the finished goods? You can leave in the comment box. Why do you have to start with the finished good and work upstream? I told you 2 important reasons why we need to walk upstream. How many of you remember that? Always start from finished goods and then work upstream. The first important thing is see the product from the eyes of a customer. See the product, see the value in the eyes of the customer. The first important. The second answer is difficult. The second reason is difficult, why we need to work upstream. The first answer, what you have given, is relatively, I'm very happy that you remembered and put this, because we need to start with finished good, because we need to see from the eyes of the customer, and what customer sees is the finished good, finally the goods that is delivered to them. What is the second reason why we should walk upstream? Okay, so the second reason, all of you can take notes, is my own interpretation. Okay, this is what, from the customer point of view, it is given in all the books. But the other reason I found personally is you will get the exact material flow, because when you're moving from raw material, some of the inventories would have already moved. But when you work upstream, the material has to pass you, and you can get the right quantity of the inventory. Good snapshot, better snapshot of inventory when you work upstream. And also, you can see how the value is eventually built with the end product in mind. So material, when you work upstream, all the material has to pass through you. Okay, so you don't miss the snapshot of inventory. The snapshot of inventory that you take, because in value stream mapping, whatever inventory that we take is only the snapshot at that particular point in time. But the snapshot is more representative when you work upstream than when you work downstream. This might be a little heavy for some of the people to comprehend, but still, if those of you who feel you have understood, type US in the comment box, understood in the comment box. Okay, if you feel it's still not clear, do not worry about that. Okay, this, when you practically see that, you will feel. When you are working from raw material, you will see that the next process material is already gone to the front. You will not get the correct representative of inventory. For example, if I'm walking from, for dosa manufacturing, I'm walking from the place where the rice is kept, already the batter which is there, it would have moved for making the dosa. I would not get the correct inventory of the batter that is kept in place. Whereas when I'm coming from the finished goods, the inventory has to pass against me. I would get a better representation of the inventory in place. That's the point that I was communicating. So you have to consider both the material flows and the information flow. Go to Gemba and speak with real data. Go to Gemba and speak with real data. It's very important. Value stream mapping is not an exercise which has to be done in the conference room with people. You have to form a team. I will give you a roadmap of exactly how you should do. Okay. I do value stream mapping for 3 days. If you're interested, I will give 3 days activity. Always draw in pencil. Lot of advantages. As you draw, you will think of further information that you need. Lot of back and forth changes would be made. No one, even if you're 20 years in the organization or 30 years in the organization, there would always be some changes when you draw. Also, drawing by hand means that you can do it yourself, which is the key understanding to the material information flows. And drawing by hand means that you will focus on understanding the flow instead of how to use the computer. I've used Minitab for value stream maps. I've used Excel templates for value stream maps. I would have done about 26 manufacturing and probably 11 or 12 non-manufacturing value stream maps. Okay. If you try to use computer is only to finally, after you have done all that, just to save the information to store somewhere safely, then you can use computer ultimately. But during the exercise, please use pencil and paper. Having to manually fine-tune your drawing will improve your mapping ability. Always keep an eraser ready to make sure that whatever you map is ultimate, and you can keep erasing and modifying whatever that you need to do based on the inputs. Okay, probably we will talk about these icons for the day also. There are 3 types of icons. One is called material flow icons, information flow icons, and general icons. What are the material flow icons? Let me give you a snapshot of that. Manufacturing process is by these boxes, outside sources, data boxes, inventories. Some people use it inverted triangle, this triangle. Do not bother too much about small variations in the icons people use because it has evolved over a period of time. Kindly make sure that what is this? Actually, I want to reiterate this point again and again. Information is always for decision making. The timely, correct, and complete information will lead to timely, correct, and complete decision making. Correct and complete, timely decision making. The easier the information is we are able to comprehend, the better would be the decision making. The easier the information that we are able to comprehend, the better will be the interpretation and the decision making. And symbols like this, icons like this, will give an easier understanding, a common understanding, and clarity in communication through these visual icons, so that our decision making process is easier. We concentrate more on the specifics instead of understanding. That is, if it is in the truck, we know that there is a supply, that's all. Instead of trying to, if you put in writing, maybe it will not be easier to comprehend. This is push arrow, finish good to the customer, first in, first out. General icons are there. Like we'll talk about Kaizen burst, buffer stock, supermarket, withdrawals, operator symbols, and information flows. Manual flow is like this, whereas electronic flow is like some lightning arrow. Then weekly schedules, leveling box, we put a circle, cross. We will talk about Haijunka later. Then there are different types of Kanbans. We'll explain what Kanban is. Signal Kanban, Kanban box, withdraw Kanban, production Kanban, Kanban sequence, and all that, okay? So please go through this book, Learning to See, okay, today itself. And please watch this video also. And finally, there is a case study that is there on page number 28 and 29 of Learning to See book, which I've posted. And please go through that case study as well.